Welcome back to Survival Stories on the Soul Society Network. Tonight we recount a story of a man's miraculous survival after not only being shot multiple times, dipped in magma, suffocated in outer space, but also struck by lightning 3 times in a row and left for dead in a crater. Kenpachi Saraki's miraculous tale of survival and hardship. Yeah, so after about chapter 590, I realized Kubo wasn't going to address me for a while, so I started keeping a journal. I got to, keep up on my bird watching, which is something I've been, a fan of for many years.
Let me tell you something here, son. This was a man that was trapped in a crater for over 32 cotton-picking chapters. That's over 6 months with no food, no water, no survival supplies whatsoever. But he managed to get through. You know why? Because he's Kenpachi Saraki's, a real man's man. Chuck Norris would look upon this man and he would smirk in admiration before going about his day, as Chuck Norris is the best man that ever existed. He clashes with gods in comparison, but still, just having a second of admiration would have enough charisma for a regular man to sprout chest hair and fly into the sky, into the sun, and would ignite upon impact, raining down an entire stream of happiness upon the world for a millennium.
What exactly are your sources for all this?
You want to see how hard I can punch, son? Hey everybody, Tekking101 here, here to review Bleach chapter number 613 entitled The Ordinary Peace. As opposed to the extraordinary peace, which would be like if aliens descended upon Earth and then looked around and saw all the shit we humans were doing, and it's like, wow, you guys are way off, and then they started introducing their amazing alien technology, and that fixes everything. Guy can hope, right? So we start off the chapter with Ichibei continuing his speech from the last one to himself, stating that it's impossible for Ichigo and his group to defeat Yuha Bach. I'm so sorry, mere humans. Take note, he said mere humans. Okay, get back to that in a second. Just remember throwing that in there. You cannot defeat Yuha Bach with your abilities, but fear not, because that is all there is to the so-called peace. Right, Yuha Bach? And I don't like you! Quit texting me! We broke up! So basically what Ichibei's speech is amounting to here is that I misconstrued what he said last chapter. I assumed that he was basically just like, okay, he's sending Ichigo off to fight Yuha Bach, and, he's sitting there it's like, oh, well, you can't defeat Yuha Bach, so there's no point. I was thinking, like, why is Ichibei jerking around Ichigo and his group? I think what the idea here is, though, is that he's alluding to the fact that they're not going to be able to defeat Yuha through sheer physical means. I don't know about you, but if you've been expecting, like, a big final showdown between Ichigo and Yuha Bach, with, like, swords crashing everywhere, and then Ichigo eventually kills Yuha, and then boom, we win, guys, end of series. I really don't think that's the way, Kubo's gonna go with it. What I've always figured is going to happen is that Yuha's existence is parallel to the Soul King, very well meaning that Yuha is essentially a god figure in and himself. You can't necessarily just kill a god, okay? I know a lot of people are gonna quote different video games and manga series where gods can die, but we're not, just disregard that for right now, okay? We're talking about this. What I think happened 1,000 years ago with Yamamoto is that Yamamoto tried to take on Yuha through sheer physical force, and he succeeded. He completely eviscerated Yuha down to the last atom, but he came back. It took him 1,000 years, but he eventually came back. I think that's what Ichibei is alluring to here. Even if Ichigo managed to completely incinerate Yuha, which he can't, but even if he could, it wouldn't end the issue. The problem would still exist. Yuha would eventually come back and would have to deal with this shit all over again in 1,000 years. So, whatever result is going to happen with the confrontation between Ichigo and Yuha, whatever the final solution is going to be at the end of this series, it's not going to be Yuha lying in a grave, completely killed, Ichigo standing triumphant. It's going to be a little bit more abstract than that. So then we cut back over to the 12th Division where all the other members of the Gotei are gathered, the ones that haven't been completely killed or zombified at this point anyway. We have Shinji who's noticing that the sign over in the autopsy room is changing over to the dissection room, or the dissection room is changing to the autopsy. Like, I get what they're doing. It's like a sign that turns, you know, so it's like, you know, like remember in the old Pokemon anime where it's like everybody be hanging out in the Pokemon Center and then we'd have the red sign that goes off whenever the Pokemon are done operating on. I get that's what that is, but it says dissection and autopsy. Both things are not things I would really want to happen to my body to make it get better. Both of those happen after you die. So I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on behind there. Then again, this is Mayori's laboratory, so I can probably assume what he does do in there on Sunday nights. Anyway, though, the point of the matter is the operations on Shuhei, Ikaku, Yumichika, and Kenpachi have all concluded, and out steps Ukitake, stating that he's completed 3 operations and everyone's okay. Hey, there you are, buddy. Good to see you, man. Oh, awesome. You know, okay, a lot of people are hating this chapter because of the length of it, as well as the fact that, once again, continuing on from last week, nothing really seems to happen. And, you know, my opinion on that is pretty much just, you know, like, there's going to be chapters, there's going to be lull weeks, okay? There's going to be weeks that are going to just not be anything in order to build up what's going to happen next time. You know, it's a weekly series, so I'm not going to say, now if nothing happens for like a month, okay, I'll have something to say about that. But if it's only 1 or 2 chapters in a row, I don't really get upset by that, okay? It's building up tension for what's going to happen next. And plus, we needed a couple chapters just to gather everybody together, okay? To find out where everyone's dead, what's going on here. Everyone needs to get healed up, okay? So I'm not mad about that. Now, granted, if it continues for like the next 2 or 3 chapters where we get chapters like this one, I might be a little pissed. But the thing I'm excited for, and this is potentially something that we haven't seen before in the series, is that Ukitake is now a member of this team that's heading to the Soul Palace. Do you know what that means? We may get a legitimate Ukitake fight in this series, as opposed to... Let me see, when did he ever have a legitimate fight? Never! He never did! Like, the closest thing we had was when him and Shunsui fought against Yamamoto, but that was mostly all off screen, and you know he wasn't taking that seriously. So, I'm pumped for this. At least he doesn't get one-shotted in the back by Wonder Bread again. That was such a disappointment, but we might get something here, guys. But along with the injured also steps out Isane, Hanataro, as well as the 2 third seats of the 13th Division. What are their names? Kiyone and Sentaro, yeah. They step out, and they said, like, they helped Ukitake with the operation. Shinji brings up the fact to Ukitake that it's funny that he would be healing everyone, and considering the fact that he's the one that's sickly and he would be needing the treatment. However, Ukitake replies that he's been feeling pretty good the past couple of days, as well as the fact that he's been so ill most of his life, he understands a lot about medicine. Captain Jushiro Ukitake, MD, coming this fall to the Soul Society Network. Little thing to mention here, he doesn't bring up anything about the Kamekura thing that happened back in chapter 606, you know, the weird, creepy Buddhist shadow that was illuminating from him, although I will bring up one thing. In that chapter, he talked very doctor-like to Shunsui when they were having their little confrontation. He was talking about how, oh, I think we can pressure things a little bit longer, things can hold out a little bit longer. The way he said that was very reminiscent of how a doctor would say it, so that, of course, ties stuff into this chapter right here. I don't know if the stuff involving the doctor shit happened after whatever happened with the Kamekura got implanted into him. Maybe he got these cool healing powers now. Maybe that's why he doesn't seem as sick anymore, and he can, you know, impart that powers into other people, because, you know, there were some characters such as, you know, like Shinji and shit, not Shinji, but Shuhei, that weren't injured that badly. I mean, he got the shit kicked out of him by Kensei, but most of his bodies were still there. But if you remember correctly, Ikaku got fucked up by Zombie Toshiro. He got, you know, stabbed in the chest, his leg got completely frozen off. I mean, this guy was mangled, and he seems to be doing okay now. So, I don't know what kind of healing he did, but it had to be something impressive. But he states, of course, that he wasn't the only one that helped out. He also had Vice Captain Isane as well as 3rd Seed Hanataro Yamada to help him out as well. 3rd Seed Hanataro! My man! Get with those promotions, bro! Wait a second, what happened to the original 3rd Seed of Squad 4? Yeah, what was his name? Fucking, Imuro, right? Yoshiko Imura? You know, the guy with the blonde hair and the glasses. He struck the epic poses, you know, back in the Soul Society arc. Oh, well, it's not a big deal. He probably got killed by a soldat or some shit. Alright, men, it's our duties as the members of the 4th Division to make sure all the Shinigami are taken care of and healed properly. Don't fret just because the Seirete has vanished. This is still our battlefield. We'll take those Quincy bastards down a peg, you'll see. So let us rally, men, and let us heal every Shinigami that we come across. Yeah, except we have a little bit of a problem here, sir. Yeah, what's that? There seems to be a small child wearing a raincoat blocking our path. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Huh, well, that's a tad odd. Hey kid, are you one of those, Stern Ritter people things?
Oh, I don't know about that. It all depends on how you imagine it. I'm thinking he's trolling us, sir. Yeah, I figured that much. Okay, anyway, screw this. Men, take out your Zanpakutos and ready for combat. We're taking this guy out before he has a chance to do anything. Oh, God, why is my head burning up? And oh, Jesus Christ! It's burning! It hurts so much!
Or I guess he could have just gotten demoted, whichever. Anyway, Ukitake mentions everyone's healed up and ready to go, except for Kenpachi Zaraki, who's still not able to move. However, he's immediately proven wrong whenever we have a great-sounding voice coming from the medical room. Hey, dipshits! Oh, here we go! I can move just fucking fine, thank you very much. Now listen here, when you're in a real survival situation, I don't give a shit what those fancy reality TV shows, your Bear Grylls or whatever the fuck. You know, only a real man needs when he's out in the wild, faced against the wild elements and the grizzly bears. All he needs is one piece of equipment. His trusty Bowie knife.
That's a spoon.
I know what the fuck it is, Steve! I meant, here we go. Bowie knife!
Well, actually, that's not a Bowie knife either. You see, a Bowie knife is when you have the handle that's positioned in the...
Okay, come over here, Steve. Come over here. Woo! Kenpachi Zaraki rides again! Yes! You know, okay, honestly, I was a little scared there, considering the way Kubo was going with this. I was afraid we were not going to get another scene with Kenpachi, you know, whipping out Nozarashi, doing something cool. From the looks of this chapter, we're gonna get at least one more scene, one more battle with him, so... Okay, I'm good, because, you know, that last one with the Grammy thing, I mean, given how Kubo is, and given all the other characters he has to cram in fights for, I was expecting, like, okay, that was a really epic way to end out Kenpachi. I really hope that's not his final battle, but, okay, I think we're good here. Anyway, nobody is really objecting to the fact that Kenpachi's moving around. Ukitake figures, well, since he can move, I guess he's ready to go. However, Kenpachi's not really interested in whatever they're doing. He's still looking around for Yachiru, who has not been found yet. Urahara mentions that the rest of the Squad 11 barracks have still been looking for her, to which Kenpachi turns to leave out the door. Wait a second, no, you can't leave yet! What the hell's this? Those lasers. Why do we have lasers in here? Okay, well, I gave the original Star Wars trilogy to Mayuri for his birthday last month, and he started watching it, and now he has some kind of laser fetish. My fault completely. I didn't think he was going to go that way with it, but hey, joke's on him, because I was going to give him the prequels next month anyway. And just when you think Urahara's gonna bust out a binding keto just to shut this guy up and make him listen to his own point of view, we then have the most epic badass in the entire Seirete show up to confront Kenpachi. Nanao Ise. Oh yeah, you know she's gonna whoop some ass. Ah, jeez. First I got the candy store owner, now I got the freaking school librarian up my ass. Listen, Missy, no! You listen, Captain Zaraki. I am the acting lieutenant of the 1st Division of the Gote 13. My captain is a drunk and has left me in charge of this entire f***ing operation, and I have had a lot on my plate right now, and I am on my period. So you will sit down, you will shut the fuck up, and you will listen to Mr. Urahara as we deal with this horrible situation. Okay? Okay, sir. Jeez, I think Nanao might have just grown some balls there. Great to serve under you, Lieutenant Ise. Anyway, because of Nanao's intervention, Kenpachi Zaraki chooses to stay and let his men search for Yachiru, although I don't think they're going to find her, because I believe that was the original spirit of Nozarashi, because whenever Nozarashi, became, whenever he released his Zanpakuto, Yachiru was the one that was remembering, being named and everything, and then she disappeared, so I think that's a little bit too convenient there, so I think maybe she might show up again whenever he does Nozarashi. Maybe Yachiru will appear as, like, the spirit of his sword and speak to him and let him know everything's okay, but, regardless of that, Urahara states that before Kenpachi decides to change his mind, we should all get going. So he passes out one of those spirit core things. They resemble the crystal balls that they gave out when Ichigo and his friends were going into the Seirete originally, the Kukaku Shiba ones that, form the cannonball. I bet they're very similar, if not the same exact ones that were given to Urahara by Kukaku. Anyway, Renji, Ruki, anyway, though, everyone takes one and they all hop onto the platform, and he states that we're going to start the landing operation. So Urahara opens up the Sky Dome, stating it's going to get a bit wet, so I ask you for forbearance on the matter. So we can assume what's going to happen with this. They're all going to activate, because, Ichigo and the group already did the initial shot with the cannon, so they got to make their own cannonballs for this one and then have similar power in order to launch up. I don't know how they're going to get the power this time. Maybe it's some other method. Maybe they're going to use the own power from their Ryatsu to fire them up somewhere. Whatever. They're going to get up there somehow. So last scene of the chapter, we cut over to the Soul King's Cocoon Palace, where we see Yuha still standing there with the sword piercing the Soul King's chest. And then we have Ichigo and his entire group showing up. Alright, what? So these guys just, went out for a coffee break? You know, they just creamed the entire Zero Squad, then just decided, you know what? Let's go sightsee. Let's go check out Look, there's Starbucks right over there, guys. Let's go check that out. And Yuha just like, hey, guys, I can take care of this myself. You can go back now. I mean, I don't doubt that he could handle everything by himself, but you'd think that he would want at least Hashwolf and Uryu hanging around him for this momentous occasion where he slays God. Anyway, I guess I have a couple theories with this, but let me just end the chapter here. Yuha turns around, noticing Ichigo's arrival, stating that, you damn monk, which implying that I guess, Osho was the one that told Ichigo that, he's going to be, in this palace or whatever, so that's the reason Ichigo's there. And Yuha just turns to him and has the very typical villain speech. You ought to be crushed atop the gears of fate. Be thankful. It shall be by these very hands that you perish. Dun 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 dun! To be continued next week. Will Ichigo survive? Will Yuha's mustache get any more ridiculous? Will Urahara and his group finally arrive and do something? Find out! I don't freaking know. Okay, so that's the end of the chapter right there. So, like I said, I don't think any confrontation between Ichigo and Yuha is going to result in the big epic battle that we're expecting right now. I think that the other Stern Readers are still hiding in the shadows because that's what they're liable to do. I thought they were going to interrupt Ichigo and his group when they were arriving to the palace, like all the elite Stern Readers take on Ichigo's friends and they get separated. I did not imagine in 1,000 years that the entire group was going to confront Yuha, but I think if it's too good to be true, that might be it. I don't think it's going to be like everyone's attacking Bach, all problems are solved. No. It's either Yuha's going to pull some shit, which would leave him invulnerable to being attacked, or the other Stern Readers are going to show up and then they're going to disperse in the battle. Or they might change the whole battle, ground altogether, depending on whatever the hell's he gonna do because he just killed the Soul King. Or, in typical Aizen, way, he could just stand there and monologue to Ichigo explaining all the shit that he's just done. Given that Yuha is a little bit less of a bullshit villain than Aizen, I don't see this going down. But either way, it's a pretty short chapter, and like I said, I don't mind the short chapters. I don't mind setting stuff up, as long as it doesn't happen for more than, I would say, at least 2 weeks. 2 weeks is the maximum here. If next week nothing happens in conjunction, I might have a little complaints to go off of, but otherwise, stuff needs built up. It's a weekly series. Kubo's been sick. I'm not going to, go too rough on the guy here. But yeah, if nothing else, Kenpachi's back in this chapter. That was mostly the highlight we had to wait for, and as I said, I don't think that Yuha is going to be able to be defeated in this so quickly fashion. So if anyone's out there's worried about this moving too quickly, don't be. I think Kubo knows about this, and he's going to make it a little bit more, because we still have so much to learn about. We still have the freaking backstory with the Quincies we need to cover, which he has to absolutely include. So I wouldn't worry too much about the story being, too, compressed right here. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Tekking101 signing out. Oh, and before I go, I just wanted to say one thing. There was the Bleach Ultimate Quiz contest. Not really a contest. It was more of just a test to see if you guys could do that compared to your Bleach knowledge. There was a group of people in a podcast that recently managed to do pretty good. They didn't get all of them right, but they did pretty damn good, I wouldn't want to say. So there's a podcast below to that one right there if you want to go check them out, and they're the ones that did very good on my Ultimate Bleach quiz here. And if anyone out there wants to try it out, then the link for the video's below as well, and you can make a video response to that if you really choose to do so. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Tekking, signing out. Did I already say that? Probably did. Whatever. See ya! Yeah, the wild is pretty crazy, but at the end of the day, all you really need is your trusty... Damn it, Steve, you messed me up again! We're done here! Get the hell out of my house!